The stewardship of our lives is radically transforming. Notice Zacchaeus' drastic change and reckless abandon after he connects with God. After engaging Jesus, he makes a totally uncharacteristic announcement in regards to Zacchaeus' life. In fact, it speaks to the depths of the change that took place in his life. Because where once Zacchaeus was all about the abuse of power and the extorting of money from people, now he addresses Jesus as Lord and says, Lord, I will give half of my possessions to the poor. And if I've cheated anybody, I will repay them fourfold. Now I want you to understand something. To give 50% of your income to the poor was way above the necessary expectation. It was way above and beyond that which anybody would have found respectable. And for him to say, listen, if I've cheated anybody, I will pay back 4 times, is way beyond what the call of duty is well. Because if indeed you had somehow misrepresented something and taken something from somebody, you had to pay back what you had taken plus 20%. But he's saying, listen, I will pay back 400 times the amount that I've taken from anybody and give half of what I own to the poor. How unlike the person that we talked about last week, that rich man who came to Jesus and said, what must I do to inherit eternal life? And Jesus said, listen, keep the laws and keep the commandments. And he says, I've done it flawlessly. And then he says, listen, sell whatever you have and come and follow me. And he says, wait, no further. I'm not going that far. It's too much of a commitment. Here we find Zacchaeus stand to his feet and say, Lord, I'll give half of everything I own to the poor, and of that also, if I've cheated anybody, 4 times I'll repay them. You might say, well, words are cheap. But listen to what Jesus says. He hears the words of Zacchaeus. He looks upon Zacchaeus' heart, and he says, today salvation has come to this house. In other words, these weren't simply words. This was a heart issue. Zacchaeus said, my heart has been cleansed. I want to do what is right. And it confirms the genuine change that is taking place in Zacchaeus at that very moment. You know, it's been my observation that when Jesus is given the right to fully reside in our heart, material things matter little. There's nothing we won't sacrifice, nothing we hold so dear that we will not place it at the feet of Jesus. And that's why the whole issue of tithing is not a problem for those who have had a radical change in their life. If Jesus has really set you free, if he really owns your heart, then what is it for him to own your wallet? You know, if he owns all of me, then why reduce him to a simple 10% of my income? The truth is, I owe him everything. And whatever I have in the way of finances and possessions are nothing in comparison to him owning my life. And so, Lord, you can take all of me. So it's like, Jesus, take me, take all of me. It's a complete surrender of who I am and what I hold as a manager of that which God has, that which God really owns. The fact is, I am simply a steward, a trustee, a manager of that which God has placed in my care. And so, we talk about the aspect of giving. It's nothing in the eyes of God. And yet it is so opposite of the world's philosophy, in that the common mentality is to grab and get, to have and to hold, to possess and to conquer. But the life that has been transformed says it all belongs to Jesus. I give it all to him. Listen, don't miss the blessings God has for you by clinging tightly to this life when he says there's so much more within their surrendered life. It's time we let Jesus transform our thinking. It's time we let him recondition our heart. It's time we allow him the right to really own us and govern us and direct us in ways that further his kingdom. I want to challenge you today to pursue his fullness, to let him be your passion, to give him all of you, to say, listen, God, you have done everything for me. I cannot control, I cannot hold tightly to my own life. I lay it at your feet. I place it at the mercy seat of God. Lord, do with me as you desire. Because the truth is, a man never stands so tall as when he stoops to lay everything at the feet of Jesus and serve him without reservation. God, you have done everything for me. I owe everything to you. And that, my friend, is the stewardship of our lives. Simply saying, God, I am not my own. I'm yours. And I lay myself at your feet so that you might do with me as you desire. Would you stand with me today?